I have beef with the spectrum.
And so twice a day I was poisoning him with this machine.
How I recovered my son from nonverbal autism.
Hi, hello, and welcome back to my kitchen. Please don't eat anything out of the air fryer because it will give you autism and I'll have no other choice but to put you down. The holistic autism mom sphere was a rabbit hole I wasn't planning on shoving my head into, but we're here because I'm nosy. If someone says they have the cure for cancer, I don't care how insane they sound, I'm listening. I've been autistic my entire life because that's how it works. Shocking, I know. When I first stumbled across these people, I didn't think they were serious because you'd have to be dropped down 4 flights of stairs and lobotomized to even come up with half of the crazy shit they're spewing. Do you see this thing? It looks like it should be carved into the wall of an insane asylum as some kind of cursed prophecy. This odd little community they have has some interesting beliefs. Autism isn't genetic, it's caused by environmental toxins, chronic illness, or injury. An example of this would be, my kid was born healthy until those evil vaccines made him autistic. Autism can be cured through detoxes, because apparently you can just rinse the autism off. Autistic traits are actively harming our kids emotionally. Pseudoscience is key and above actual science. The DAN protocol, which is a biomedical approach that claims to cure autism through nutrition and detoxification. Because again, toxins, they're everywhere. No wonder everyone's turning autistic. DAN stands for Defeat Autism Now. It sounds like a shitty Elden Ring DLC. And finally, be a scam artist. Claim you have the cure for autism, take everyone's money. We'll get to this one later. Honestly, if you were to kidnap a doctor from the 1930s, drizzle him in essential oils, and force feed him lion's mane supplements, you'd successfully recreate the barbaric beliefs and interventions these people swear by. But wait, 'cause I have to make a TikTok out of this. Wiggle your feet around in that slime, Timmy. It'll repel the autism. It's insane to me that we have modern-day science and research-backed studies, yet these people are stuck in this psychotic, hysterical myth of heavy metals lurking in their homes at night.
So my son has an autism diagnosis and I took him to get his blood checked for heavy metals. He tested very high. One specifically was called antimony. When I discovered that our air fryer, which I've been using for the last 2.5 years to prepare his food, which is all organic, is not safe. Almost all air fryers use antimony in their electrical cords.
Is he gnawing down on the electrical cord? Are you slipping it in his food for him to nibble on? You are feeding him out of the air fryer, not the literal air fryer, right? This isn't an autism cure I've missed. Hey, I hope you're hungry, because I've made you a little meal. That big tangled mess I showed you earlier, that's the healing web, the holy scripture these people live by. It's like the Bible for pseudoscience, color-coded and completely deranged. On the left side, we've got modern medicine, and on the right, the magical world of holistic healing. Right in the middle are common ailments and pregnancy. For fun, I guess. If you follow the colorful little lines, it shows you each side's antidote. So let's say you have blurry vision. According to this chart, on the Western medicine side, we've got TV. We're curing vision problems with TV? I didn't know about that. Optometry, glasses, contacts, LASIK, actual solutions. But then you wander over to the holistic side, and your options are stenopic and blue light glasses. Okay. And sun gazing. Staring directly into the sun. Oh, right, I'll just shove a fork in there to speed up the process. And what exactly are these supposed to do for me? It's like staring into a cheese grater. In the top left and right corners of the healing web, it lists the origins of each practice, origins of Western medicine, the Illuminati diet, vampirism, and gay frogs. Classic, because when I think of healthcare, I think of these 3 things, though I prefer to put all of them together. And then we've got antique remedies featuring exorcism, leeches, and mummification. Oh, you know the West, commonly mummifying people. Historically, that was us. My great-grandmother was actually mummified. Sometimes I go down to her tomb and reminisce about the exorcisms we used to do together, right before the fetal part trafficking, just in time for her traditional Egyptian burial. Exhilarating times. And of course, the holistic side gets practically zero criticism. Instead of listing weird antique remedies, they went straight to the future. Future remedies, nanobots, clone tissues and organs. That's not fair. You guys haven't even done that yet. That's like me listing time travel on my resume. But wait, because it gets better. Under suppressed remedies, they list Violet Ray and the Philosopher's Stone. I need you to look me in my eyes and tell me who took your Philosopher's Stone away. Who's suppressing you? The Philosopher's Stone is literally a myth. It's a fictional, alchemical, ancient substance. Do you have the elixir of life in your pocket? And Big Pharma's going, shh, no. This web is so delusional and clearly biased toward the make-believe fiction land of non-existent remedies where Big Pharma is apparently using fetal cells for artificial flavoring and treating AIDS with antivirals instead of, I guess, man-made disease cures that have been suppressed. Oh my god, it's the Philosopher's Stone. Anyways, back on topic, this is the web that people are using to heal their kids' autism and mass manipulate other parents into buying their autism reversal products. According to this chart, autism is caused by genetic and environmental factors, vaccines, and metal poisoning. Big Pharma treats autism with behavior therapy and antidepressants. This isn't even true. It's quite literally in the name what those are used for. Holistically, we heal autism with detox, heavy metal detoxification, green juice, organic raw diets and raw meat, cholesterol, bone broth, probiotics, fish oil, the ketogenic diet, cannabis, raw dairy, and of course, a chiropractor, because cracking my neck in half will definitely realign my brain. The factory settings, I suppose. I'm going to be mainly talking about this one account I found called Mean Mom. At least she's self-aware. There's a lot to dissect here on Mean Mom's account, and a huge plot twist, but no spoilers.
I'm a biomedical autism mom. Of course I have a bin full of supplements. And more supplements. And more supplements. I'm a biomedical autism mom. Of course we have a chiropractor. My son gets adjustments because we know that the spine is directly connected to brain function. Of course, after starting detox, we realized that my son got his eye contact back.
Notice how confidently wrong she is in everything she's saying. There's enough supplements in there for 4 orphanages. You don't need that many. She talks a lot about not having a great relationship with the medical system, and a lot of people don't, but to do a complete 180 and stray as far away from science as possible is a little odd. She's an anti-vax conspiracy theorist that strongly believes autism is an acquired disease.
And if your child was born with autism, then kudos to you. Do you want a cookie? But riddle me this, riddle me that. How is it genetic, right? But they don't have any genetic testing to prove that people have autism. I'm really not trying to scare anybody, but it's literally all around us.
Her entire account is dedicated to her son's healing journey. She genuinely believes that all of these methods she's doing will recover him from this deadly illness. When you finally get over your mom guilt and no longer think your child's autism was your fault somehow. Detoxing him, now he's saying more words. He's also eating more than his regular 3 foods, more eye contact, no flapping, less stimming, less sensory issues. Life is good. I'm so happy her family's quality of life is improved. That's great. It's just really interesting to me that these improvements seem to be directly tied to her eradicating her son's autism. Today, I put little Johnny in a straitjacket to stop him from stimming at the dinner table. Those hand flaps were just so annoying, but now we can eat our dinner in peace. He was screaming the whole time, but I told him the only way out of it was to speak in English and not sounds. Life is good. Nothing says family happiness like pretending a lifelong neurodevelopmental condition of just evaporated into thin air because of a bone broth bath. This mom guilt she mentions is what unfortunately causes a lot of people to go down this path, and I'm very sorry you were indoctrinated into this by some freaks, but the way you're presenting yourself right now is very monstrous. Suppressing him from stimming isn't an achievement, he's expressing himself, you villain. She genuinely thinks she's the autism healing anti-hero.
It's been 2-3 days of me starting the Becoming Biomedical series, and I'd be lying if I didn't say it was hard. To be completely transparent with you guys, I wanted to stop. I wanted.
Okay, monologue. Are you ready for Marvel? Be honest. She says she can't stop sharing her journey because the information she's putting out isn't on Google, and people may not be from America and have access to the same resources she does. She can't stop posting just because she's scared of a few keyboard bullies. My goal isn't to bully her, but I also don't care to sympathize because this isn't the case of someone just quietly reading pseudoscience to themselves. She's not just tiptoeing into the shallow end of the conspiracy pond, She swan dived and brought her son with her. She's hurting him way more than helping while actively spreading the biomedical agenda to her decently sized platform. She's claw-grabbing confused parents of freshly diagnosed autistic kids and leading them down the same harmful path. I don't feel bad for her, I feel bad for them. I was diagnosed late and didn't really know why I felt so freakish growing up. He's gonna look back and think the same thing, except for a different reason. It's because she made him a lab rat. I can go, oh, I'm craving a specific sensory input right now. I can blast music, I can drink a fizzy drink, I can grab a blanket if I'm at home. He doesn't have that luxury. He doesn't have the processing power yet to understand why certain things make him feel better, he just knows that they do, and instead of letting himself regulate, she's bashing his comfort and telling him to stop the very things that help him feel okay. She's triggering a constant state of fight or flight, which will definitely contribute to severe autistic burnout in the future. There's a huge chance that his first memory is going to be his mom telling him there's something broken about him, and she's just okay with that. She's also very easy to frustrate. Instead of hearing people out, she immediately jumps into confrontational conspiracy theorist mode. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she accused me of being a government agent.
All right, let me ask this since people want to act dense. Where are all these speech delayed and nonverbal kids coming from? I'll wait. Like, I need y'all to comment. Because when I say autism, it's like, oh no, because now we're learning more. Now that people are being diagnosed late. And okay. Where are all the nonverbal kids coming from? Let's talk about them.
They're not coming from anywhere new. They're not climbing out of the woodwork. Society just started to finally notice and support them. Historical underdiagnosis doesn't mean that nonverbal people never existed. It just means that society wasn't paying attention. I get that she's implying some mysterious external entity is responsible for that apparent increase in autistic kids, nonverbal autistic kids, but let's talk about the actual questions she asked. Aside from autism, where are all the nonverbal kids coming from? And the answer is nonverbal doesn't equal autism. There are plenty of kids that are nonverbal for other reasons, like hearing loss, developmental mental delays, environmental shifts, and if you consider the time difference between when she was a kid and now, parental over-reliance on iPads has skyrocketed, which does delay development. I thought we all knew this. There is scientific correlation between excessive passive screen use and language delay, but I know they hate that big S word, so I guess my point is automatically meaningless. Speech delays have multiple causes, and oversimplifying it simply can't be done. Someone replied to her because, again, she was asking a general question with the completely reasonable point that throwing technology at kids instead of spending quality time could be a factor.
I don't think this comment is fair. And the reason I'm saying this is because we just went through a whole pandemic. We had no choice but to be in the house. So what are you talking about?
Pandemic or not, you create the environment that your kid grows up in. I mean, isolation is a no-no, but shoving an iPad in their hand 24/7? That's not ideal either. I'm not saying to ban technology and to force your kids to chew on beige blocks of wood, but this comment was obviously clearly referencing an overuse of electronics. She insists that she read to her son every night and didn't talk to him in baby talk, and still he ended up nonverbal. Probably because he's autistic. The question she asked was general. Why are there so many speech-delayed kids emerging? Not about her son.
So I'm curious to know. My son was talking at 11 months old, then stopped talking out of nowhere. Are you gonna blame the toys for that? Did the toys cause the regression?
No, the toys and the screens didn't cause the regression, and neither did the heavy metals toxins vaccine. Him being autistic did because he has autism. When I first encountered Mean Mom, I thought her motivation was greed, but not financial greed. I thought it was more about attention and conformity until I saw this.
I don't know if it's me, but since I started giving my son this lion's mane mushroom, he's had more words. He has a PT and OT session together, and his therapist was like, oh yeah, he was doing this, he was doing that, he was saying this, we got him to do this, da da da. It's hard to say, bro. It's low-key freaking me out. I'm excited, don't get me wrong, but it's low-key freaking me out a little.
Wow, very believable, very convincing. Totally not a money grab.
But since I started supplementing with the pure mushroom, y'all, I'm gonna give it 2 to 3 more weeks, and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna write everything down, but I'll be back. I'll be back with an update, and I'll tell you more about the sound frequency later too, because which one is it, or is it both?
Neither. It's clearly the speech therapy she mentioned earlier, but oh, look, it's an ad. And it's not just this video, it's an entire series. These all-curing detox mushrooms are everywhere. They've infiltrated coffee, gummies, pills, and they're a scam. How are we still falling for this overpriced ground-up fungus fantasy? I don't know. These mushrooms are just the appetizer, a small stepping stone on the slippery slope to the Goliath process of detoxing your kid from autism. How is autism genetic when my child is the first one to display these traits? I don't think we understand what genetics are. Autism being genetic doesn't mean that it's going to appear in every generation or family member. Sometimes it's like carrying a recipe to a trait. You might pass it down, but it's not going to bake the same way into every person. Genetics are so complex, sometimes they might skip generations or just show up in different ways.
So I actually get this a lot. And to make it simple, I'll just do it in bullet. 1, your heavy metals load can be passed to the baby through uterine.
Okay, well, there goes all sense of reality.
2, do you live in an industrial area? That's a major one nobody really thinks about. Do you use these type of deodorants? High in aluminum. Do you use stuff like this to wash your hands? Are these plugged in all around your house? Do you happen to use this?
So now I'm confused because these all give your kid autism, but she's actively using them. So is she purposefully giving her kid autism and then getting mad about it on TikTok?
I'm really not trying to scare anybody, but it's literally all around us.
Guys, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to blame you, but at the end of the day, it's all your fault. You gave your kid autism. You ate tuna and used deodorant when you were pregnant? Autism. You washed your clothes and ate with silverware? Autism. This whole holistic mom cult is so annoying and inspires me to slam my head into a brick wall, but you know what else is equally as annoying? Data brokers. A quest? That's weird. I was just looking at one of those yesterday. Replaceable eyelids? How did they know? What? Whoa. Who are you? How did you get my number and know where I live? That guy over there sold me all of your data, so I thought I'd swing by and take a peek. And I may have brought some friends. Thanks to Incogni, the sponsor of today's video, you can take back control of your personal data and stop being farmed, traded, and sold to predatory companies. And trust me, there's a lot of them. You could contact these companies yourself and request them to delete your data, but honestly, that would take years. This is where Incogni comes in. Signing up is super easy. You create an account, tell Incogni whose data you want removed, and give them permission to work on your behalf. That's it. They contact data brokers, handle the back and forth, and keep you updated as they wipe your data from the interwebs. I've been using Incogni to put an end to the resilient, endless spam calls I receive every 2 seconds.
This is an important message from lenders.
This is Margaret with Economics.
Hello, Spencer?
Before, I had to permanently put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Honestly, it's kind of satisfying watching the progress unfold on their dashboard. They've already gotten several data brokers to remove my personal information. If you're ready to stop random companies from selling your personal information, check out Incogni. Right now, they're having a 60% off sale. Just go to incogni.com/cybernoop and use code cybernoop. That's incogni.com/cybernoop and use code cybernoop. or click the link below to take your personal data off the market. Okay, back to the video. This heavy metal myth isn't new. It's a part of a larger pseudoscience narrative that's been debunked a million times. It's specifically designed to sell you unregulated detox products like these weird mushroom drops. Please, for the love of God, do not digest anything that's being sold next to whatever this is. Sure, if your baby is sucking on a mercury thermometer daily, you're going to run into some problems, but lead and mercury poisoning doesn't just happen that simply. The idea that typical household products can infect a fetus with heavy metals is bizarre and peak fear-mongering. And I'm sorry, if you live in an industrial area, are you conceiving in an oil rig and throwing your baby shower in the mines? Even that wouldn't make your kid autistic. Autism isn't a failure of maternal responsibility. It's not their fault, and it's also not a bad thing. Me just realizing that so many people don't know the benefits due detoxing their bodies from heavy metals and toxins. And its benefits like improving brain functions, boosting energy levels, helps alleviate brain fog, helps improve gut health, helps with toddler/child speech delay, helps with stimming, helps to remove neurotoxins that contribute to Alzheimer's and dementia. You may be surprised to learn this, but the body actually has pre-installed systems inside of us for removing toxins for free. Does her son not have a liver or a kidney or lungs? Unless you've been diagnosed with lead poisoning by a doctor, there's no need for external detoxing. These detox claims are just marketing, not medicine. If detoxing improved brain functions, where is the evidence? Where are the studies? Cognitive abilities aren't just something that you can magically boost. If I were to make a brain boosting drug named Gorf, would you take it? Yeah, I'm sure you would, but you're not supposed to say yeah to that, guys. Boosting energy levels? Just get more sleep. I'm trying not to repeat myself here, but this is not caused by toxins. Please take your kid to speech therapy and not pseudoscience. Helps with stimming. See, it's the same thing over and over again, and that's because she's selling a product. Multiple, actually, but we'll get to that in a minute. The list is so long. The list is actually built on ideas. Detoxing is a distraction from what actually works, and you're wasting time and money buying into it. What about tippy-toes walking? Like, why do you care? I seriously doubt your kid is tippy-toe tap dancing all over your toes as you walk. What's the issue?
Tippy-toe walking is actually a good one. I got you. So according to the behavior and remedy chart,
which is an ableist book written by a psychopath, by the way,
possible causes of tippy-toe walking could be yeast, constipation, pain or irritation in the bowels.
So you're telling me I tiptoe around the house because I'm holding in a toot? A tiptoe toot? I promise you I don't have to drop a fat shit. I just cannot stand the feeling of cold floors under my feet. It has nothing to do with my ass and bowels. And if it did, you'd know. Now the biggest detox of all that you could do is her detox bath, her magnum opus, guaranteed to pull out all of those heavy metals from your demented child.
This is the highly requested detox bath tutorial y'all been asking for. First, you need baking soda, Epsom salt, and bentonite clay. All showed here in the video. Baking soda helps to neutralize the water, and it has tons of detoxing properties.
Baking soda is for baking cookies and maybe softening water, not removing toxins from the body.
The Epsom salt, the reason why we're using it with this bath is because it calms your child's nervous system. This right here is a razzmatazz. Bentonite clay helps to pull out heavy metals from their little bodies. For those who don't know, heavy metals cause cognitive delays.
Baking soda does nothing. Epsom salt might feel nice, and that clay isn't doing shit. I'm so sorry, but there's more cognitively wrong with you than your son.
This is why kids start talking after detoxing them. Pull the heavy metals from their bodies, you remove what's causing the cognitive delays. Voila, they start talking.
Bats don't teach your kids how to talk. Are you okay? Is the water speaking back to him in a foreign language only he can understand? Is it injecting him with talking potion?
Stop stimming. No more food aversion.
Stimming isn't something to stop, and food preferences, that's about sensory needs, not metal in the body.
How is the clay gonna help us? Bentonite clay is a binder, as I previously stated in my videos.
No, it isn't. Not a soul on Mars, Earth, the underworld, in Valhalla has ever said those words, and certainly no scientist. And not only is her magical clay bringing people back from their terminal autism diagnosis, but Fiji water has autism healing properties because it too can bind heavy metals in the body. It has silica, which will suck the heavy metal out of those infected with autism, which is why it's the only water she gives to her son to drink. Something I've noticed, not just with Bean Mom, but other holistic moms too, is that they don't really understand autism. In one video, she talks about loving her son, but not the autism, and I hate to break it to you, but those are the same thing.
You can love your child unconditionally, love your child without being okay with them being in pain. When I look into my child's eyes, and he wants to tell me something and he can't get it out, the frustration that I see.
Where is the pain at? I need you to locate it for me. I can assure you that any pain he's going through while being autistic is because his mother doesn't accept him. He's probably frustrated because she keeps marinating him in a tub of clay instead of taking him to speech therapy. Frustration isn't the same as suffering, and autism is not a problem here. Obviously, it can be frustrating for someone who can't express themselves verbally, but that doesn't mean there's no other way to communicate. It's about finding the right tools and methods that work. Try sign language or flashcards or that app where the kids hit juice and a TTS message blares through the house. He wants to communicate, you just have to help him. He's 5 years old. How is he supposed to advocate for himself? He's barely even conscious yet. I get that seeing her child struggle to communicate can be hard, but we have to be more careful with the way we talk about autism. She makes it sound equivalent to the electric chair. Just accept that your child has autism. For a brief moment, I thought maybe this will be her normalcy awakening. No. She turned into a literal monster and flat out admitted that she's not accommodating anything for her autistic son and that she essentially wants him to act normal and she won't accept anything less.
Y'all really need to stop telling people what to do with their own kids. I'm not gonna accept food aversions when I can help it. I'm never going to be okay with my son just being able to eat 2 or 3 foods. I'm not going to accommodate him not being able to be in large crowds because he gets so easily overstimulated.
Yeah, so right there is why he's so frustrated, by the way. When she looks deep into his eyes and sees all of the pain and suffering behind the autism, it's her doing it to him. When my son gets easily overstimulated in loud environments, I don't accommodate for him. Instead, I encourage everyone to yell louder, and I rip off his headphones. Why does he seem like he's in pain? She mentions seeing a functional doctor, which alone is just too much to cover in this video, but if you're wondering what they're up to...
ADHD is not real.
It's a holistic biomedical doctor that isn't covered by insurance and treats autism by doing this.
So right now we're using laser low-level light therapy to activate the right side of his brain.
He's standing on a balancing ball, a red light shining into his brain, and being hypnotized, and these are the doctors we're trusting over the scientific ones. This kid looks like an MK Ultra experiment.
I have beef with the spectrum. My beef with the spectrum is how wide it is. What that did was cause a division. You have moms that get mad at other moms for saying their kids are high functioning or low functioning.
It's just never ending, I'm afraid. Because you can just say high or low support needs instead of saying how well they can function. She even says Asperger's should have stayed a diagnosis and thinks disclosing her son's autism is a HIPAA violation.
When I say, hey, my son or my daughter is autistic, I have to educate. So now I'm a walking HIPAA violation in the airport, in the emergency rooms, everywhere I go. I have to be like, okay, so this is what's going on. He doesn't like this. Don't do this.
You'd have to be on a new level of stupidly unaware to genuinely believe this. Advocating for your kid isn't even remotely close to a HIPAA violation. It's parenting.
And this is the reason I have beef with the spectrum.
Does it ever get boring, or is the viewership too addicting for you to stop putting your kid on blast for monetary gain?
The spectrum is so wide. You have people like my son that's probably too autistic for certain activities and things, but not autistic enough to receive special needs treatment or services. So what now? What do I do?
Do they give a reason as to why he isn't able to receive service? In this particular video, I was just venting about an incident that happened yesterday, but for the services, yes, it's always a simple, he doesn't meet the criteria. Oh, that's weird. As someone who's high functioning, I rarely ever hear that I'm not autistic enough for certain things. What number did they give him? Referring to his diagnosis, and the big plot twist is, he doesn't have an official diagnosis. I diagnosed him myself. Right, so the entire platform you built for yourself is a lie. A catastrophic misinformation peddling lie that you're using to sell products to distraught and lost mothers. Cool. You can suspect it, but diagnosing autism is not something you can do yourself. It's a process that only a professional can do to rule out other conditions. Very complex and overlapping conditions. By skipping this step, she's built her entire platform entirely off of assumptions. From what she's mentioned about her son, the speech delays, very selective eating, not doing well in crowds, and stimming, it sounds like he's autistic, so why aren't you getting him diagnosed? It's so much more than just a label. It's a key to support and services, especially when she was just complaining about them. She's complaining about not being eligible for services designed for autistic people when I feel like the solution is very obvious. Get him evaluated. Get him a diagnosis so that he can access the resources he needs. It's like she'd rather stay in denial than actually do what's best for him. Now that I think about it, maybe this is intentional. Maybe she doesn't want to have accommodations in place because that would mean admitting that he's autistic, and that doesn't fit the narrative. She's building this whole platform around detoxing him and claiming she's solving all of these problems when really she's just avoiding the reality of his needs. She's selling a hefty amount of things. She has one-on-one emotional support for ASD moms at a cost, a Patreon with more detoxing tips, the lion's mane drops from earlier, 2 guides for having an autistic child which are biomedical, meaning let's just cleanse it away with essential oils.
As an autism parent coach, the number one thing that I hear from most parents is, I wish I had a guide, so I created not 1 but 2.
And a bunch of ugly ass merch that I would rather die before wearing. Her website is diabolical. I became a small business owner initially to help women in my community through different means. I wanted to curate a safe space for women to join and support each other. Should have stayed like that. I pivoted slightly after my son turned 18 months old. Between that time and 2 years old, I noticed he had some developmental delays. Shortly after his early intervention assessment, I found out that he was on the spectrum ASD. No way, you mean the autism assignment that you administered? That you found on Google? Where's that in here? Before finding this out, my son was enrolled in different swim classes and gym classes since the age of 7 months. It seemed like as he got older, the places I could take him and the classes I wanted to enroll him in became less inclusive and available. Was there a big waving flag out front that said no autism's allowed? Get those guys out of here. I wanted to do two things. Continue to create a safe space for women with a focus on mothers and caregivers of autistic children, and to offer an autism-friendly certification program for businesses that wish to become more inclusive and welcoming to individuals with autism. Save yourself and run. Do not enter any establishment with this certification. Today we're going to be talking about autism defiance. It's something that autisms like to do. They wreak havoc, they cause mass destruction, it's for their sensory needs, and a lot of them do this. One thing we can do to help them calm down and relax is to say calm very loudly, multiple times. Calm, calm, calm. And if that doesn't work, you can just grip them up and escort them out. The phrasing implies that she had him professionally diagnosed, but she didn't. It's misleading to people who are actually looking for resources. The Biomedical Blueprint is her most popular book, and unfortunately I'm not going to be buying it, but I have caught a lot of it in her videos, and it's just misinformation overload with a cutesy aesthetic. Early signs of autism, OCD. Nope. That's actually its own thing. Trouble sleeping, unusual emotional reactions, anxiety, shitting yourself, seizures. No, not quite. Misinformation like this should be illegal, actually. Hey, don't worry about my kid seizing over there. He's just autistic and does that. She has an array of other things she's written, and God, could we hire a graphic designer, or is that not holistic? Who is this? Did the autism do this to his head? Why is it so flat? Yes, I'm tired. Autism mom, 24/7. So relatable. So real. I'm a mom. I'm not I can't. Always tired, very overstimulated. So relatable. So true. I'm so overstimulated by my autism son. I'm truly a victim of his terroristic ways.
I'm not gonna accommodate him not being able to be in large crowds because he gets so easily overstimulated.
Mean Mom advocacy t-shirt for autism moms. Mean Mom. If that means advocating for mine. What does this mean? At first I thought the kid was supposed to wear this, but then what, he's advocating for his mom? His mean mom? But also, if she's wearing this, she's advocating for her mean mom. I don't understand it. I think it's a typo. The whole mean mom branding is so cringe. Like, I get that she's saying that she's gonna fiercely stand up for her child no matter what people think. Advocacy isn't about being a mean mom. It's about being an informed mom, a compassionate mom, an understanding mom. Her approach seems to center on defiance rather than acceptance. By wearing our Mean Mom t-shirt, you're not only showing support for your own child, but also standing in solidarity with autism moms everywhere. It shifts the focus away from her kid and onto her as the hero of this story, but I mean, after all, she is the autism healing anti-hero. Together, we can amplify our voices, challenge stereotypes, and create a more inclusive world for all. Which is the exact opposite of her entire online existence. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Here's my Twitter if you wanna go here. Bye.